Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kadash, double honors unto your apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well. And shalom to the hopeful elect. It's a video, this video is going to be called Yahweh Shai's Return. And I'm going to start off with Acts 1 and 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? Now the kingdom, having kingship, the kingdom of Israel would basically denotes power. Okay, when you think of the kingdom of Israel, it's two key times where you can really think of, pinpoint that to, being the time of David, where he had so much blood in his hands he weren't allowed to build the temple of Yahweh, the temple of the Most High Power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash, and then preceded by fucking hell, excuse me, Solomon, which basically was the time of great peace upon the earth because David made the way, basically. All right, so and they had power over the whole earth. You had Queen Sheba coming from Abyssinia to come and hear of the wisdom of Solomon. All right. So they were asking for power, basically, the disciples. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which his Father have put in his own power. All right? But ye shall receive power. See, power being the key word. Why? Because that's what they were in pursuit of. They weren't in the truth just to be, oh yeah, this is just, it's cool. No, they wanted Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash to be put in the head seat upon the earth, because the earth was wicked, basically. All right. After that, the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and all Judea and in Samaria and unto the utmost part of the earth. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. All right. Now this story is really a throwback. There was a story that was an allegory of this in a prior book, man. And I'm gonna read it. So this is 2 Kings 2 and 8. All right. And the key word being mantle, okay? And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters. Fuck. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together, all right, and smote the waters. Like if you take a towel, this is how I'm visualizing it. A mantle is a cape, basically, which Elijah was wearing, which is where you get things like Superman. As we know, Superman, first off, scientists say he would have been a black man in order for him to have the power that he had, to be powered by the sun. Because guess what? Melanin in your skin allows you to draw more energy from the sun. So he would have had to, really, if you ain't got no melanin, you ain't drawing nothing. And that's how you get a thing known as photosynthesis with plants, all right? Because they use something, a melanin in their skin, which is called chlorophyll, to basically, to take the strength of the vitamin D of the light and turn it into energy, into strength, into power. Okay, and the other reason why we know this is because he also has, his name is Kelel, or Qualel, Allah, which means voice of the Most High. All right, and the voice of the Most High is what is power, basically. Because by the voice of the Most High, which is Yahweh Shai, the whole world was made. All right. So, okay. Anyway. So he wrapped up his mantle, which is a cape, covering a cape. Like as if you take a towel, and, a wet towel or a towel, and you rotate it nice and tight, a tight coil, and then you whip it out to hit something, all right? That's how you smote the waters. And they were divided hither and thither. so that they too went over on the dry ground, as did Moses, as did Joshua before them. And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, Ask what I shall do for thee, before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And just for the way this played out, I believe that Elijah knew of all of this beforehand, all right? But the point is, Elisha asked for a double portion. I'm going according to what it was said. I know that a double portion before you'd have I believe you'd have what you'd have is, say if you have a father and he has 6 children, he would part that his possessions or his inheritance into 7 and give 2 of that 7 to the firstborn child, the male child, and then pass off each individual inheritance onto the other child that follow in line. So Elisha was, in this case, he's more or less just saying, look, I want double what you can do, which is, makes me think of Yahweh Shai. Okay, when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, what did he do? He said the miracles that he done, if they were written down in the book, the earth couldn't hold that book upon the earth, man. That's how many miracles he did. But he told his disciples, starting with Peter, he said that, look, the things that I do, you shall do and more. All right? To the fact that when Peter was walking around, his shadow was curing people, man. And he's taking people's spirits at a word. All right? So he's doing great acts as Yahweh Shai had prophesied of. Okay? So he more or less received a double portion as well. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. All right? And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. So Elijah was taken up, all right, by a whirlwind, a tractor beam, took him up, straight up into the chariot, okay, into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his clothes and rent them in 2 pieces, all right. And funny enough, that's a form of lamentation. He rent his clothes, but then he did this. He took up also the mantle of Elijah, all right. And that's where that idiom comes from, or the saying, all right, which basically, to take up one's mantle or take up another's mantle is basically to come in the office, someone that preceded you, all right, to take up someone that preceded you in that said task. So he basically took up the mantle of Elijah, all right. He went in his place, so basically the double portion fell upon him, all right. Really, according to what he said, if you be here when I be taken up, then it will be done, He took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan. Now, really was a test of his faith, because he could have said, I ain't even going to touch that mantle. I'm going to swim across the Jordan. But he took up the mantle, right? He had faith in the fact that the words that were said in the act that he just saw, look, man, I got to bear his mantle. And he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him and smote the waters and said, where is the Lord Yahweh of Elijah, the Lord power Yahweh of the Lord Yahweh power of Elijah? And when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elisha went over. So he came, he asked he said, where's the Lord at? And he smote the waters, and then he passed over. And when the sons of the prophets which were to view at Jericho saw him, they said, the spirit of Elijah doth. Man, this is such a these how many verses, man? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 verses are, funny enough, double mercy, according to new so-called numerology. Man, they're powerful, man. These. I read these, and it's the second time I'm doing this video. I'm a lot less excited than what I was the first time I did it. But man, these 8 verses, man, they're hard bodied. Yeah, that's what I gotta say. Yeah, inspirational, right? Because even I think even when it says because I only just kind of realize this now. I may be reading it wrong, but it said took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him and smote the waters and said, "Where is the Lord, power of Elijah?" He might have even smoked the waters and it didn't run first because he didn't have. He might have thought, "Damn, am I really ready to bear this burden?" But then when he questioned, he said, "Where's the Lord? Where's Yahweh, the power of Elijah?" And then he smitten and when he had also smitten the waters, they parted him. Maybe it might have, he might have been on the fence a bit before that happened. But the point is that the words that were said unto him, they come true, man. All right, and that's how your faith has to be. No matter what it looks, whatever kind of disturbance is ahead of you beforehand, just have that faith unto the end. All right, be faithful unto death. All right, verse 15. And when the sons of the prophets which were to view at Jericho saw him, they said, "The spirit of Elijah doth rust on Elisha." And they met to and came to meet him and bowed themselves to the ground before him. Hard body. So now, let's go back to Acts, the first chapter. And let's go back where we was. So yeah. I'll just read verse 8 again. But you shall receive power after the Holy Spirit has come upon you. All right. And you shall be with. At the time, they didn't have the Holy Spirit. All right. But they're waiting for it. Which Yahushua told them, it will come upon you. And ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. The uttermost part of the earth being the new world, all right? And that's why you have the apostles of Great Millstone really starting with, Elder Abba Bivens, followed by King Marshall, High Priest Ariel, High Priest Yaquab, getting down to the apostles of Great Millstone, dealing with Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakar, Apostle Ramlab, all falling into that lot, okay? Because they're teaching in the uttermost part of the earth, all right? And all the brothers, the elders of the camps, and all the different brothers throughout the camps. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So the same thing, this story is almost word for word. Not literally word for word, but it's more or less the same thing that was said in the story of Elisha and Elijah. Almost the same thing was done, all right? Word for word, Bear with me 1 second. Anyway. So the same thing was taken up, and then more or less the mantle fell upon them, but not literally at that moment. But it was a sign of things to come. If that same thing that happened, it would harken back to something. If you're privy to that story, it would harken back to that. And while they stood steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, "Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up?" So angels even come to this after this happened and said, "Why are you looking up to the heaven? The same Yahushua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go into heaven." All right. So he said he's going to come the same way he went, same way he's coming back. But guess what? When he went in front of who? His disciples at the time, who he put into apostleship, all right, via his last words. So basically, only a handful of people saw him at that time when he left. But guess what? When he comes back, it's going to be a whole different story, man. So this is Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. Now, he went back with he went by one cloud, all right, one chariot of Israel. But it says when he comes back, he's coming back with an army of clouds, all right? And when he comes back with an army, it further on says, and every eye shall see him. So not only the eyes that when he left was the eyes of, the said disciples at the time, but it's gonna be every eye is gonna see him. The whole world is gonna see him, and they also and it's fitting because guess what? This word, when Yahushua died, only a few people saw him, right? And then that word they were given the task of basically going forth to spread the good news, the gospel, really of the gospel, the good news of Israel to the whole world. All right, indiscriminately, everyone needs to know of this story. All right, that's why the Bible's the biggest seller through Spirit, top seller in history, in the history of man, because through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai Bashem Harakah Kadash, everyone has to know of this story in some form of light, because the truth, the ultimate understanding of the story is going to be made known when Yahweh Shai appears, man, because the whole world thinks he's a so-called white man due to iconoclasm, but when he makes his appearance on the earth, all right, and it's a dark-skinned man with a white woolly afro, then you see so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans being delivered. That story is going to be known, and it's going to go forth from when the kingdom is established. It's going to set the president for everyone to know the truth from that time on, all right? Because again, only a handful of eyes, handful of people saw Yahweh Shai on the earth, right? When he was crucified, and then even more so, even a less amount of people saw him when returned, and he broke everything down. And guess what? He told them to go out and spread the word. Faith comes by what? Hearing. So now you have people that come to the word by the understanding of hearing the word, and they have faith in it. All of us on this side, we come by what? Faith, all right? A subject of things not seen but hoped for, basically. So we ain't seen nothing, directly. We've seen different little things through the Spirit, things that happen within our lives. But guess what? Yahweh Shai, the things that are being heard are going to be seen, all right? And that's why it says, every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him. Because now, those that didn't see him are going to see him. Those that heard him are going to see him, basically, right? And they also which pierced him, all right? And even those that pierced him, all right? And all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so Amen. So, and this is the reason why they're going to wail of him. So this is Isaiah 47. I'm going to start from 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Now, the virgin daughter of Babylon is talking about America. The reason why America's called a virgin, because it hasn't been touched. All right, no nation has actually gone into America and made warfare. That's how great the power of America is. Right, anything that's been done on the shores of America is really a false flag. To present that act. That energy for a certain said benefit unto America. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Yeah, because everyone looks to America as a great beast of a power. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks and make bare the leg, uncover thy fire, pass over the rivers, thy nakedness shall be uncovered. So basically strip down, because look, you're going to be shown, the skirt's going to be lifted up, and everyone's going to know who you are. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. All right, and it's talking about Yahweh Shai. When Yahweh Shai, all right, was on the scene, what did he say? He said, "Look, I could call 12 legions down, but he didn't do so. He had the power to do great things. That's why even people are mocking him and saying, "Look, man, where's get yourself off." But they didn't understand that he had to fulfill prophecy. He had to be the scapegoat for the nation of Israel. All right, the Lamb of Yahweh, the Lamb of the Most High, Yahweh, as it tells you in the book of Revelations, the 5th chapter. So he had to do that so he could come back and basically be the redeemer of the nation of Israel. But now when he comes back, he ain't gonna come back and be defenseless. he's coming here to play offense. That's why he said he's not gonna meet the as a man. That's why I said also in Isaiah it says, "I've pressed in a wine fat alone." All right, and basically that's talking about Edom, the so-called white man. All right, the so-called white people of today dealing with the Edomites. All right, and what's the other one I'm thinking? Yeah, when he comes back, that's why it says when he comes back, when he opened his mouth, he basically everyone turned into dust, man. So with that, man, I pray you edified.